Broad-based community organising is a craft where you build power by pulling together institutions, people's institutions, which people own, and which preferably have roots and have lots of people, into an alliance that is able to promote the interests of civil society, promote and defend the interests of civil society.
Community organising is developing leadership and building power in the community in order to make positive change based around the priorities of the community itself. Neil Jameson has worked for 20 years to introduce the practice to Britain with Citizens UK after it began in Chicago in the 1930s.
It's critically important in a democracy that an organisation which is independent of government helps with the development of people so that they can make an informed consent, informed judgment on the issues that they're confronted with every day. So that is attractive, because I think that's what we do, and we do it pretty well. Obviously a small number of people, but nevertheless very significant and bigger than anyone else has got. So that's quite important.
One of the most interesting discussions in organising is the integration of current technology into a practice firmly based in face-to-face relationships. Neil Jameson remains sceptical about the usefulness of technology in assisting organising.
The craft of an organiser hasn't changed in 23 years for Citizens UK. We started and we inherited the tradition from the Industrial Areas Foundation, who, if you like, taught it by Saul Alinsky, is that the way you build power is through relationships, that's the same, but that they should be face-to-face relationships. Built into the job description of all the organisers here is the need to do 15 to 20 one-to-one meetings a week, not one-to-one blogs or tweets or Facebook pages. And there's no appetite to change that. The way we've recruited and the way we can now fill a hall with large numbers of people is because we have done relational organising without social networks and new media. It has its place to record what happens, definitely, and that's probably its most useful, as a record of an event. And it has its place, obviously, to set up a meeting and maybe spread the word, but it doesn't have its place in building relational power.
The focus on relationships is especially interesting when talking about social media. The New York Times have dubbed the rise of online media as the flight from conversation, and talk about the movement from conversation to connection. One argument is that social media has strengthened relationships. We now maintain contact with people for longer periods of our lives thanks to Facebook. The ability to be in constant contact with friends makes us better friends. But the art of nuance is lost in the 140-character messages of Twitter. Does the prevalence of online communications make face-to-face conversations more valuable, or does it make us unable to communicate? Has social media helped or hindered the formation of relationships?
It weakens mature relationships. Mature relationships are built face-to-face through action, and tweeting and blogging is not action, in my opinion.
Opinion is clearly split on the value of social media and technology to relationships, but there have been some examples of social media campaigns which resulted in action. One recent online phenomenon was the Coney 2012 campaign. This was a movement rather than organising, but still deserves consideration. Over 100 million people have watched the 29-minute YouTube video in its first month. The campaign came under great criticism for inaccuracy, lack of nuance, and ultimately a lack of effect.
Many of the people we're working with who fled Uganda, and our leaders in London Citizens, fled him. So it is a good thing, I guess, that if social media focuses on that, then something happens, although I'm not aware of anything having happened other than resolutions being passed and lots of children discovering that the world is a nasty place.
As a result of the campaign and pressure from their children and constituents, 34 US senators co-sponsored a bipartisan resolution just days after the video. This resolution condemned Coney and urged the US to continue to assist regional forces to track Coney's army, the LRA. The campaign changed the agenda, just as London Citizens' campaign changed the agenda to get the establishment, in this case the Labour Party, to support the living wage in their manifesto. Neil Jameson is again critical of the role of social media.
Well, that was a film that could have easily been a film in a cinema. There are many films in the cinema which raise social justice issues. It was well promoted, of course, and it was a terrible story. But on the other hand, people say, frankly, the original issue has gone away. The guy is not as significant as he was. And the people that produced the film have done quite well out of it. Certainly their profile is very high. So it's a way of reaching folks, and it has been very impressive, the number of people that have seen it.
Leadership is an important, if not the most important, part of organising. Coney 2012 got shared around Twitter and Facebook. Within these social networks, just as within our non-technological social networks, there are leaders and followers. We can see this by looking at the campaign of one of the most famous community organisers ever, US President Barack Obama. The Obama 2012 campaign is capitalising upon this, identifying leaders through Facebook by using whose statuses, links and comments get shared and commented on by most people. These are then identified as leaders, and the campaign looks to recruit them as opinion makers. Furthermore, another aspect of organising is utilised, relationships. Rather than the campaign contacting the person as a generic body, it looks for mutual friends who would be willing to make a personal request for the identified opinion maker to join the campaign. The wisdom behind this is that people respond far better to requests when it is made by somebody they know, somebody they already have a relationship with. It is using relational power to expand the power of the movement, which is exactly what organising does. Of course, technology in organising still has some way to go. The democratisation of technology whereby anyone can change the world carries risks. Information won't always be perfect. Relationships are stronger when made offline, face-to-face, and the reduction in the time media has to capture one's attention demands that complex issues are simplified. But fundamentally, the organising philosophy can be maintained and enhanced through social media if used correctly. Organisers are protective of what they see as a specialised occupation and wary of using electioneering techniques. They are wrong to be so. The fact that anyone can start a revolution from their bedroom, as we have seen in the Arab Spring, should be cause for rejoicing. Organising is not about empowering people. Organising is about the encouragement of people to empower themselves. This is exactly what technology does. Moving forward, we should embrace it.